Silicon Valley Bank.
Silicon Valley Bank.
Silicon Valley Bank.
Silicon Valley Bank.
The Silicon Valley Bank.
Silicon Valley Bank.
The Silicon Valley Bank.
The second largest
Bank failure
in the history of
the United States.
Don't look now, but there's something funny going on over there at the bank, George. I've never really seen one, but that's got all the earmarks of being a run.
Uh-oh. Last week, Silicon Valley Bank, the 16th largest bank in U.S. financial history, went out of business. They had billions upon hundreds of billions of dollars, and they went out of business. So why did they go out of business? Let's get into that. In the end of this video, I'm going to break down what is going to happen in the very near future and why this is a big red herring. If you don't know how banking works, let's break down how banking works. So banking works like this. It's actually a confidence game, right? You go in, let's say in this case at Silicon Valley Bank, and you go do a deposit of $100. They can then loan out $90 of that $100 to their customers. It's called fractional reserve banking. What they do is they make investments with your money. This has happened for years and years and years from one of our favorite movies, It's a Wonderful Life, that explains exactly what Mr. Potter did to George. They did a run in the bank then, and they're doing the run in the bank now, right? That means when there's a mass exodus, there's a run to the exits. That's when everybody leaves, everybody gets scared, and the bank has to make those people whole. And when they don't have the money, that means they go out of business. Or if they don't have the ability to get the money, they go out of business. Silicon Valley Bank, it was founded by people in Silicon Valley that invest in startups. And so a lot of the companies that had their money in there, like Roku and some other companies, they actually had a ton of money for these startup companies. And these startup companies, they're funded by angel investors, they're funded by other guys. A lot of their first years, like Amazon, is losing money to build a company. Again, like I said, all these banks are fractional reserve banks, which means like they don't have any money on hand. Let's say you're Elon Musk, you're like, yeah, I want to take out $1 million out of my bank today. Chances are they're not going to have it. All that cash, that digital cash, is going away. Pay attention to what I just said there, the digital cash, because this is the big red herring. The red herring is, look over here while we do this over here. Silicon Valley Bank invested over $100 billion on U.S. Treasury bonds, and they made a bet with your money, not theirs, that the interest rates are not going to go up. Pretty bad bet. So when they went up, they had to sell their bonds. The interest rate of the bond is tied to the value of the bond. So if I'm getting like a 3% return on my bond and now interest rates are at 7.5% return, which they are currently right now my bond is worth half or less of what I paid for it. So they made a bad investment decision, but who cares, because it wasn't their money. People got nervous about the fact that they knew that the bank made bad decisions. And why did they know that? Because they forecasted that they needed to raise capital to then pay the customers. So when one guy's withdrawing cash, another guy's withdrawing cash, and there's people lined up, and you can literally see this in the news articles of people lined up at the bank withdrawing cash. Now everybody's getting nervous. It's called a run to the exits, right? And so this is the whole domino effect of how banks go out of business. Silicon Bank goes out of business. Now Signature Bank goes out of business. Now Mr. Biden knows I've got a problem, because now these banks have now lost a ton of value. And you hear me tell you this all the time in all my videos: don't buy stocks because you're buying debt. What are you buying when you buy a bond? You're buying debt. That's why we talk about real estate. We invest in real estate here. Today is Thursday, March 16th. Last night, Credit Suisse, one of the premier financial institutions for private banking all around the world, lost a ton of money in their stock. Then Joe Biden gets on and he says, hey, don't worry about nothing. It's not going to cost you a damn thing.
Americans can rest assured that our banking system is safe. Your deposits are safe.
One thing you need to know is that Silvergate and Signature were well known in the crypto space. So these guys were all involved in crypto. Who regulates all the banks? We didn't even have a banking system really until 1907, when the Federal Reserve came together, which is not a government agency. It's a private institution. And you can check out The Creature from Jekyll Island if you want to learn more about how the banking oligarchy was put together. You've heard of FDIC insurance. When Washington Mutual went out of business, and IndyMac Bank went out of business, and Countrywide Bank went out of business, and GMAC went out of business, at that point in time, the FDIC only insured up to $100,000. And now it's $250,000. So many people don't know that, but that's actually when that happened. So 2008, they raised their limits just because the same thing. People were losing confidence in the bank. So the FDIC is always seizing banks. But who are they working for? Who controls the FDIC?
The FDIC is headed by a 5-member board of directors, which is appointed by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate.
Who controls the Federal Reserve?
The Federal Reserve is overseen by a board of governors and is comprised of 12 Federal Reserve banks located throughout the United States. The Federal Reserve is responsible for printing money in the United States.
On this $100 bill, you're going to see it's a note. What is a note? A note is an IOU. IOU $100. It's a confidence game. Now also, the CEO of Silicon Valley Bank, he knew that they were going under and he sold his stocks to make money. He's supposed to be the fiduciary of your money. He's supposed to be the guardian of your money, but he's looking after his own ass. The government doesn't want people to worry about deposits. They don't want people to worry about anything, because if everybody started worried about the bank, they'd take all their money out like they did in the Great Depression. There'd be a run on the banks everywhere. What did Biden have to say? He said there's no issues. It's not going to affect you as a taxpayer at all, which it is a total lie. It's going to affect you as a taxpayer. Old man Potter, Joe Biden. He's saying, hey, don't worry about nothing. I got you covered. What's he really after? Okay, when I always talk to people, I say, what are you doing with your bank? You're parking your money in the bank, right? When you want it, you can get it, right? Why not park it into real estate, right? You can do the same thing. What are the banks doing? They're actually parking their money into real estate, and you're parking your money at the bank so they can loan it out to guys like me to go buy real estate. Why is all this happening? And what's the big thing that I told you I was going to tell you at the end? This is just a giant red herring. All of these banks are basically maneuvering right now. A lot of these banks that are going under right now are getting loans, and these loans are loans for control. Like the banks like JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Citi, all of these big ones are controlled by the wealthiest people in the world. And what they're doing to these smaller banks is they're taking over. Why are they taking over? They're taking over because the government wants to control all of your money. They know with guys like Sam Bankman-Fried that cryptocurrency is a total bust. But they also know that the total control that they can have on you is by controlling the one thing that they don't control yet, and that's cash. So first, what happens? The government says crypto's bad. Why is it no good? Because the Fed is not making money on it. And the Fed is a private institution. The Federal Reserve is a private institution. So what is going to happen is cryptocurrency, as you know it, will be monitored by the Fed and be owned by the Federal Reserve, so that when you spend $1, they know about it. Where you spent your money, they know about it. How you spent your money, they know about it. It's already happening in other countries across the globe. In Switzerland, you can't even write a check. It's gonna happen. Why? Because it's complete control. The FBI, they're not going away. No branch, no power, no position of government is gonna go away. And they already control the money, but they don't have complete control, because with cash, I can take it away, I can give it to this person, give it to this person, and they don't know what's going on. They don't like that. They already know with the internet everything that you're doing, but they don't know where your money's going. But if they eliminate cash and they put it into 100% crypto and it's backed by the Federal Reserve, guess what is going to happen? They're going to know what you did, when you did it, who you paid, how much you paid. They're going to control the taxes, the IRS, every freaking thing. They're going to control it, and that's what this is going to happen, and that's why this whole pivot is happening right now, and that's why their next move is to control cryptocurrency. Let me know if you think I'm right. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. I will bet anything on that. Absolutely, the Federal Reserve is going digital. Absolutely 100% cash is going away. There is no way that we're going to go off a monetary policy that is not controlled by the federal government of the United States, that's also working with all of these large corporations and financial institutions to control you, control your money, to keep you down and keep you working for your dollar, just like you're in debtor's prison today. Who cares if all these banks go out of business? You should, because the more banks that go out of business, the less options that you have. The more options that you have, the better your life is going to be. If you want to control your own destiny, invest your money in real estate. Don't put your money in the bank. Get it working for you. Pay attention to what's going on around you. And if they tell you you got nothing to worry about, that's exactly what you got to worry about.
9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Don't trust the government. History repeated itself over and over and over again. They've had multiple currency. So if you think I'm completely off my rocker, they've had colonials. They've had Confederate dollars. They've had all these other dollars. So them switching 100% to digital would mean they control you 100%. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that we were able to educate you on what's going on with the banks currently right now and where I know that they are going, and it's as clear as day to me that that's where they're going to end up. So what are you going to do to protect yourself? So that's why you need to invest in real estate and get started investing in real estate. Join our free Facebook group, subscribe to this channel, and don't ever trust the government.